Welcome, everybody, to the XoneBros. This is your positive Xbox and gaming community. It has been another fantastic week in the world that is video games. Spicy, what have you... We played Marvel Rivals.
Yeah.
You guys introduced me to it. You popped my rival cherry.
And what did you think?
I have really very much enjoyed... I'll tell you what I enjoy most. And it actually got me thinking. A lot of games don't do this that they do very well, and that is they respect my goddamn time.
It's very true. They do.
They respect your time. Name another game. Just name another game that I can. I have 1 hour of time. When we were doing Baldur's Gate, part of what turned me off of Baldur's Gate was that sometimes a lot would happen, sometimes nothing would happen in this like 2 hour span, and then also, glitches with freaking Steam that took hours to solve. But games that don't respect my time. Marvel Rivals, Spicy and Jordan had talked about this before. Marvel Rivals, you can jump into and you're instantly in a match and you jump out and there 10 minutes. 10 minutes has gone by and I've played a full match. And I can get in 5 matches in an hour. Like no other game has and I think we increasingly, I think the games that will have the most success in the future as we go forward are games that respect my time. It gave me a therapeutic breakthrough with my hatefulness of Valhalla. Valhalla did not respect my time. That was it. They wasted my time. Don't waste my time. I've got limited time to game. If I sit down for 2 hours, I want to bite off a big chunk. So like on day one, we were able to play enough games in the span of 2 hours. I think we sat down for 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. And for me to really like understand the basics, get like, okay, here's how it works. Here's the different matches. We played a variety of maps. That by day 2, it's like, okay, now I'm working on my character and like learning how to play them properly. Whereas a game like, let's say, Overwatch, that would take me weeks maybe to get in the equivalent matches.
Yeah, and it depends also on the time of the season and everything with Overwatch. Yeah. You could have one of their biggest hurdles was when you load into a match, it would take some time depending on your situation. Whereas in Marvel Rivals, you press that button, you're in a match.
It's amazing.
They do a lot of things, actually, because that's not the only thing. I mean, that's great. But how they do their dailies and their weekly, well, I would call them monthlies, is the best way to do that. They don't give you just 1 day and 3. They give you, for dailies, they give you 7 that you can have, and you can do them every 2 days. And then they have another sequence of up to like 60 plus monthlies. I would call them monthlies that keep stacking. So it's literally like you don't have to clock in every day like other games that are that require you to do dailies and live service games and stuff like that. It's just, oh, I missed a couple days, but it doesn't matter at all. I can now just go and play real quick matches and I'm out.
But it really did underscore just this theme of, and I just came to this epiphany that in my adult life, let's say like the last 3 years, my gaming habits have shifted to games that respect my time.
Yeah.
I've beat a variety of games, and they all are shorter games. They're all under 20 hours, let's say.
Sure.
Versus games, and not that games that are 100 plus hours don't respect your time. They very much do. I would say a Red Dead Redemption 2, for instance. I'm just going to use Valhalla, and for everybody like, oh, shut up about Valhalla. I'm making a point here. Sorry. But Red Dead Redemption 2 open world versus Valhalla open world. Red Dead Redemption 2, me going off and exploring and seeing this living, breathing world and enjoying it is not wasting my time because there are things that are happening in that world that you learn about or you gain insight into or you see stuff that you otherwise wouldn't have seen. In Valhalla, there's none of that. There's just collect this gimmick to collect it, right? Collect this meme to collect it. Collect this widget that we put in the game to collect it. And so that's a disrespect of my time. Just throwing stuff on a map and saying, go do it because, you get this achievement at the end. That's not respecting my time. You got to reward me for doing that in a way that immerses me in the game where my time is respected with. Respected with? Respected with.
Is respectful to your time.
Respectful to my time, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's, You don't realize that when you're younger. You don't realize that. But when you have responsibilities and...
I would even say up until like 5 years ago, it wasn't a big deal for me.
Yeah, well, now that we're min-maxing our time as...
Now we're min-maxing our time as men.
Yeah.
We're finally men. Oh, yeah. We're drinking blackberry Dr. Pepper. We are men. Okay?
Yeah, thanks, Jordan, for bringing that today. It's very enjoyable to have a game respect you.
Yeah. Jordan, is there a game... Can you name another game that respects your time as efficiently or as effectively as Marvel Rivals?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few out there. BioShock, I'm playing that right now.
Yeah,
the original BioShock.
Yeah. Do you think that maybe that's just a common denominator of all great games? Like, is there a great game that wastes your time?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And it really is just because if the mechanics are good,
Tarkov. That game wastes my time, but I would consider that a great game. Like it can waste hours of time at any given moment.
MMOs, is that the problem with MMOs? Is that MMOs do not respect your time at all?
Warcraft did that for a long time, so why everybody left, and then they adjusted things.
But
so
even
OG
Warcraft or vanilla Warcraft,
no, not at all.
It respects your time
very much.
How so?
Because just the way the game is designed, you're not
journey before destination.
Every level is a journey. Like nowadays, Warcraft's all about the end game. Like honestly, it's really why do you quest, because everything is so focused on the end game. Whereas World of Warcraft Classic, which I think is the greatest MMO ever made, they had end game, but the game was playing level 1 to level 2, and then the game was playing level 2 to level 3, and then it was level 3 to level 4.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. Yeah. So I mean, that's just good game design. Is respects your time. That's what we're coming to. That's the conclusion we're coming to today. Also, the other conclusion is I would really like a cream soda, Dr. Pepper.
I'll go get you one.
Yeah, thank you. I enjoyed the blackberry, Jordan. It's very delicious. I think the cream soda is better. I think it's whether you like sweet or like blackberry is a little more sweet, I think.
Yeah, another thing World of Warcraft did that's really cool is which people kind of like at the time was against, but now looking back, it was a good feature, not having necessarily quest hubs. So, for example, in Modern Warcraft, or even like when you get to like Burning Crusade and Lich King, you had quest hubs where everything was more centralized. Whereas in World of Warcraft, quests spanned across different zones, and what that did is it made the world valuable.
That makes sense. Let me ask you this. Does Avowed respect your time?
Well, Avowed's just a middle-of-the-road, passable game.
Yeah, but does it respect your time? Because I think you could probably be bad games don't respect your time. Average games probably respect your time.
I mean, I guess it's somewhere in the middle because like everything in Avowed is just kind of middle of the road. Like stories, middle of the road, gameplays.
Did you beat it?
Yeah.
Oh, and now that you beat it, that's your final analysis.
It's just the middle of the road.
It's a solid what, B?
Yeah, I do think B minus C plus. I mean, I think the combat was really fun, and that's what kept me going for a while. Is the combat and leveling up and kind of messing around with companion builds a little bit, but there are still other games that do combat better. For example, Skyrim does combat better than Avowed, but Avowed's combat was fun. Like I had fun playing the game.
Yeah, that's good,
and that's it.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. If the best way to describe this game is if you don't have Game Pass, it's not worth $70.
Is it a $70 game?
It's a $70 game. I think that's the biggest downfall of that game.
That's the problem.
Let me
ask you this. If Game Pass did not exist, would it have as positive as reviews as it has?
Well,
I bet you know.
I don't think it has all that many positive reviews to begin
What is it
with.
on Metacritic? Let's see.
I think it's middle of the road.
I think if you were to get rid of the extremes, because it's not a 10 out of 10 game,
and it's not a
zero,
one, yeah, it's
not
a
0 out of 10 game. I think it probably lies right where Jordan puts it. I'd put it like
7.
7.2.
Look at that.
Ironically, it's the IGN 7.
The people know. Mixed or average 6.9.
Yeah.
User score. The critic score 80.
I don't care about them.
Okay, let's see. Let's go down the critic score path here. Let's see.
The critics are bought and paid for.
100, 100, 100, 100. These are Irish Independent. Who is the Irish Independent, and why do they get a meta? I think we can apply for. Should we apply for a Metacritic score?
Yeah. Do we really review? Sure.
When you
We could.
By the way,
we could.
Irish Independent. When you start out with a negative sentence, it's not a 10
Okay,
out
yeah.
of
Look,
10.
so here's the review, everybody, and this is why we're living in this
I'll
weird.
pull it up
Yeah,
so people
it's
can
not
see
a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
When you start out, when you think of Red Dead Redemption, what's the first thing you think of? Not something negative.
Yeah. So for those that maybe are just jumping in, Jordan beat Avowed. He enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's ironically it's the
solid
IGN
middle
7
of the
out
road
of 10.
game. Yeah. So we're going through the critic score because the user score is 6.9.
You're on Xbox. Is that where you're at?
Xbox Series
Yeah,
X.
right there.
So this is it. Yeah.
So Sydney, the Irish Independent. Here's the first sentence. Oh, it's a little. Oh, there we go. Well done. Sure. This is remember they gave it a perfect score, a 100. Sure. Avowed has a sense of the familiar in its squad RPG tropes. Like it's almost setting you up.
It's a negative.
Yeah.
Like that's a negative. Like when people talk about tropes, it's generally in a negative light.
The problem is I think I'll review. So here's the thing. I don't think number scores give you an accurate representation, or like it's too hard. So for instance, a 7 out of 10
again,
a 7
VG247. That's why Avowed is strong storytelling, great combat, lovely visual, and utterly charming. It's not going to light everyone's hair on fire, but that's fine. That's not something you say about a 10 out of 10 game.
Okay, no.
Like,
But then look, you missed the next sentence. It's not going to light everyone's hair on fire. Here we go. And I'm going to read this. Because I know for a certain subset of people, refined people of taste, if you ask me, Avowed will enjoy cult classic status.
That's funny.
It doesn't necessarily look okay. Another thing you don't say about a 10 out of 10 game, it doesn't necessarily push the envelope, but nor does it need to.
Okay,
That's not what you say about a perfect game.
Also, for someone who's being super snooty, but nor is incorrect, dude. It doesn't necessarily push the envelope, but nor does it need to. You can remove the but, bro.
I thought somebody was named Buttnor.
Remove the but. You just have to say nor doesn't need to.
No, I think reviews should be a thumbs up, thumbs down system, and then just get the percentage.
Yeah,
Actually,
actually,
that's actually a great idea.
The old YouTube system.
I think letter grades give a more accurate representation, just because it's like C plus. C plus in my mind is better than a 7, because a 7 technically is above average. Like a C game is good. A C game is a game that I will check out. Like it's a decent game. It's not a bad game. A D is getting into bad games, right? Or a C minus. C, I think letter grades are superior.
C's get degrees.
C's get degrees, right?
Yeah.
It's passable, right? It's a passable.
Actually, like, hey, he passed high school with a C.
Yeah, I think they should do. I think
all right.
so what would you get? You would give this a B minus if it was letter grade.
C plus B minus.
Yeah, C,
somewhere in
and I
that
think-
range.
Don't you think that's better? Because an 80, for instance, feels
Sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds or like. I guess an 80 would be the equivalent of a B. I don't know. Like numbers are harder. I think,
Well, it's also-
the
it's
problem
also-
is the rest of the world doesn't do letter grades.
Well, it's also because like if you look at IGN's scale, like a 5 is a okay game. Like you don't start getting into like mediocre and stuff until you hit 4. So like everybody has a different number. Like if people don't see 8 out of 10, they think it's terrible. Meanwhile, there's 7 other numbers before it gets to
Yeah, see, Shine is close to you. He'd give it a solid B.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a middle of the road game. It's not a masterpiece, and it's not terrible. It's just someone at Obsidian said, "Hey, here's all these great games. Here's our bar. Let's just reach it."
Yeah,
Like that's all it was.
All right.
So
there
that's
you go. Yeah, I don't think I'll be playing. Again, I just don't have time to play. By the way, MLB The Show,
Yeah.
the new one.
it's out. Everybody, I've been thinking, Jordan, we put together a team, play on the same team.
That would be
for
fun,
a
yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Barbara Blake said he might be down. I'd be the pitcher, of course. I always make my pitcher super jacked, and I give him like the highest strength so that he
like,
can also
he's like
so that he can also hit homers.
He goes 9 innings like with 105-mile-an-hour fastballs every pitch,
and then he's like third or fourth in the rotation and just hits dingers out of the yard. What's the channel, Spicy, that you showed us of the dude that does that is hilarious. Where he's like a short midget guy.
Yeah.
I
can't
like highlights
remember.
from MLB The Show.
I'll have to find out, but he hits piss rockets.
Piss rockets, dude. It's so good. That is so
just
good.
hits
And
piss rockets out of the
voice, it's
stadium.
that AI voice, so that's like so manly, like a dude at a bar.
Oh, should I could.
We could do it in the after show.
We'll pull it up.
Pull it up in the
show.
after show,
Yeah.
everybody. Okay. Some big news this week. 1,000 games, Xbox Play Anywhere. That's absolutely huge. I think that has some major implications. Talked about it on my channel. For the handheld Xbox Play, a lot of people have been saying, why don't they lean more on Play Anywhere? It's GDC right now in San Francisco, which, by the way, without E3, GDC feels like it's getting bigger and bigger. And a lot of stuff is coming out of there, anyways. But Play Anywhere basically means you buy it once and you can play on the PC, you can play on Xbox, you can play
cross save, cross progression,
progression. You can play on a future Xbox handheld. Also, fun fact,
this is interesting.
they announced
the 20%
at GDC, that games that institute developers of games that institute Play Anywhere get 20% more playtime on average.
Which is because when your kids are hogging the TV, you
Yeah.
go down to the computer or whatever, like it's actually that's super
That's
interesting.
fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. So if you get 100 minutes in a game, if it's a Play Anywhere game, you're getting 120 minutes out of the game. That benefits. Thank you. I know I tried to do 6. I tried to do an hour, and I was like, wait, that's not correct. And I was like, just go to 100 minutes. It's easy. If you think about it, I don't know what I was going to say.
I ruined you. I'm sorry.
Math comment. Hold on, let me take a drink of this Dr.
I shouldn't compliment you as
I got a
much.
Dr. Pepper drink in a Dr. Pepper cup.
Yeah.
That's like when you see 11:11 on the clock.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
That's what happened right there to me.
Wow.
No, but so this is what I was going to say. Xbox Play Anywhere is one of these things and one of these services, same as Game Pass, I think, by the way, that the reason it's going to succeed and is so big, I think, for the future of Xbox is because it does two things. It's good for the consumer, which means it's good for the developer and the company as a whole. Developers want you to spend as much time in their game as possible. The more time you're in the game, the more you're spending money on skins, the more they're able to fundraise for their next game. If they don't sell skins, if they're a single player game, the more they're able to fundraise, the more that it looks good and they can create, get big numbers for their next game. They want you in more. So 20% is absolutely huge. That adds up. If everybody's doing 20%, if 20% is the average, that means there's more and less. That bumps you up quite a bit in those numbers for developers and for consumers. So absolutely huge. Very much think it's going to be a big part and why Xbox is going to the handheld. And it makes sense. We're so busy talking about respecting time. We're so busy nowadays. Games and gaming needs to mold themselves to our lives, not us have to adjust our lives to gaming. Gaming should adjust around us, not us around gaming. And Play Anywhere, combined with handhelds and all that, I think does that effectively. Mm-hmm. Have you played? Have you guys played any Play Anywhere games?
Yeah, Avowed.
Avowed is Play Anywhere. Oh, did you play it on the PC then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when my kids were on the TV, I would go downstairs and
very nice.
play it there.
What games have you purchased on multiple devices so that you could play anywhere?
His free-to-play Marvel Rivals. Because he really did buy the season pass on both
PC and
PC because they do not.
Overwatch, when they did their linking of the accounts, we bought it on PC.
Yeah.
Speaking of Overwatch, but Play Anywhere is buy once, have it everywhere.
Yeah, buy once, have it everywhere.
Yeah.
That's the benefit. That's a huge benefit.
And look, I'm actually not even against
buying it on multiple platforms
if my saves carry across.
If you're saving your progression.
That's what
gets you.
Yeah. And to answer your question, I've done that with Final Fantasy, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. I bought it 3 times, but it's account based. So you just log in your
that's
account.
nice.
Yeah. So
I think Stardew Valley I've purchased 5 times. Because on the
it's
mobile,
not Play Anywhere though, is it?
No, it's not.
Skyrim
I've purchased
also not
on
Play
every
Anywhere.
system I had at the
Skyrim
time.
now.
Well, but I think is it now? Yeah.
I think that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, Play Anywhere wasn't a thing when Skyrim came out.
Do you think we were talking about Marvel Rivals at the beginning? Just going back to it, do you think what are the numbers? By the way, does anyone know Marvel Rivals compared to Overwatch at the moment? Is Marvel Rivals destroying it?
They don't share, but it's pretty clear that.
Like if I were to go,
Overwatch
I
is
guess
taking a
Twitch. If
big
I go to
hit.
Twitch, for instance, what?
Yeah, it's pretty clear that Overwatch is taking a big hit. This might be a unique day because there's a big launch today that a lot of people are playing Assassin's Creed. But yeah, I feel bad for the Overwatch team and Blizzard a little bit because
I don't.
I know. It's like a weird feel bad. It's like, well, shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah, it's 58,000 viewers right now on Marvel Rivals compared to 36 on Overwatch. So Overwatch is still there.
I shouldn't say it like that. It's not that I don't feel bad for them. A better game came out that took my attention. What are you going to do about it?
A better
what I
game
mean?
came out during a week season launch.
Yeah.
And it just pushed everybody over. And then it was like, wow, look at all these. It's kind of the same game, but look at all these quality of life changes.
Like I'm not going to apologize or sympathize because a better product came out and took my time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I see David over there on AI figuring something out. So
Yeah, dude, people are trolling Overwatch and putting the Marvel Rivals numbers in the Overwatch forums.
wait, what do you mean?
That's hilarious. Okay, so Marvel Rivals player counts this is the last 30 days. Total, the average total of the last 30 days is 330,000. That's 228 on Steam and 102 console players.
But how do they get those numbers? I know how they get the Steam numbers. How do they get the console numbers?
I don't know. There's 8 sources here. We could go through them all if you want.
I kind of do because all AI wants to do is please me. Whether the answer is
I have had to
correct
say,
or
like,
not.
there is nothing, there's no sources that, so
Okay.
we've got VGC, Overwatch forums is hilarious, The Gamer. So it's, I mean, a lot of people have been reporting on it here. It looks like some quality Forbes.
Yeah, but when you click on those, does they actually show numbers?
And it's not Steam numbers. Steam numbers are easy to get. It's console numbers.
I mean, this,
And I would say right now, a big chunk of the player base of Marvel Rivals is on console. A huge chunk.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not have said that about other games, but
well,
this one specifically.
Listen to this. While most other games see their average player counts naturally drop over a period of time, Overwatch 2 has never seen 2 drops of more than 20% in consecutive months. In fact, from July to September 24, it was rising on average by 4.4%, 17%, and then 2% per month.
Okay.
Since Marvel Rivals come out, it has dropped consecutive months 21%.
Is this one of those?
in
Those? Who is this? Because is this one of those
This is
articles
VGC.
that was trying to defend Overwatch for not having options?
No, they're saying that in consecutive months, it's done multiple consecutive
Well,
months.
because
of 20%
scroll
drop.
down, up one more, right there. While it can't be said for certain that the release of Marvel Rivals directly contributed to the decline of Overwatch, I mean, I guess that's technically right, but also we know.
But read the next sentence. It can't be argued that the player count has seen a notable dip since Marvel Rivals launch.
But it has seen a noticeable dip. Do you know how I know it's seen a noticeable dip?
That's what it's saying. That it has.
Okay, yeah. But then why say the first sentence?
Because they're covering their base, like they're being nuanced. It's called nuance.
It's called a word limit that they have to.
Yeah, they have to reach
a word quota for the article.
Anyways, okay. According to our friends at Perplexity, last 30 days, 330 of Marvel. Overwatch 2, last 30 days, 131.
I am going to be honest. I don't trust those numbers at all for both Marvel Rivals or Overwatch. Just because there is no way, even in that article you read, that you can verify what the console numbers are. And you can't verify what the Marvel Rivals... is Marvel Rivals only on Steam, or does it have an independent launcher?
It's both.
Okay, so see, same with Blizzard. What are the Blizzard independent launcher numbers, and what the only thing we can read is Steam numbers,
database,
which you can say Steam is a trend.
Steam
so
may show you trends, but that's still
so
just trends on Steam.
If numbers are up on Steam, you can argue that numbers are up everywhere. But I don't.
The only thing that I've seen is using True Achievements to see Xbox numbers, but that's only people that have accounts on True Achievements. So you can kind of extrapolate data there.
Yeah, you can treat it as a sample size.
All trends.
Yeah, but you can treat it as a sample size, and then that's how polling works, for instance.
Yeah, but we know those are really good.
The reason I know personally that Marvel Rivals definitely dented Blizzard is because now Blizzard is actually trying to make the game better.
Yeah.
And that's how you know. When Blizzard is trying, something
happened.
happens.
But let me ask you this, though, because I do see some distinct, as someone that just jumped into Marvel Rivals, I do see some distinct advantages that Marvel Rivals has as a layman to Overwatch.
Sure. Okay.
And number one is that speed, dude. Like that respect of time was impressive. Like,
well, I could tell because usually when we play with you, you're like, okay, I'm going to bed. But you kept saying, no, another match, hit it. Hit that button.
Because I can get in. We're not waiting, and then you lose your patience, and you're like, oh.
I'm really glad you like that game, and I'm glad that you're a tank, too.
Yeah. Well, I learned this. This is what I learned, because so I'm the thing, and some matches I would do pretty decent, and I would be able to get in close to people, and some matches I couldn't. And I've learned that when the other team is all range or more ranged, I can't get in close. Like
so here's the deal. So I've been playing PC predominantly for this game.
Yep.
I switched over to play on Xbox with a controller. So I've been playing with mouse and keyboard. It's a learning curve to go to another controller, and there are characters that are easier to dominate with a controller versus and like
I will say
Hela is very difficult with a controller, whereas Scarlet Witch is much more simple with a controller because it has an auto aim.
Yeah, but so the thing, tank character, really a disruptor. So I started to practice like, okay, my job is to go in, knock people around, back out, let my team do damage, go in, back out. And he has ability where I can just like basically teleport to my teammates if they're close enough, right?
So,
like, and that's the point, right?
So yeah, so what I was getting at is we were reliant on Jordan being the sole healer in our gameplays. And he plays. I enjoy Cloak and Dagger. That's who he plays. But I had yet to figure out other characters that can heal you up front. So if you're diving in, which is what you're supposed to do, and your character does a really good job against ranged characters, because once you're in there,
I just crush them.
You just destroy them. So I've been trying to adapt my playstyle to the controller a little bit, so I can support you more. Does that make sense? Basically, I'm saying Jordan was our only sole healer for our matches, and everyone else was trying to be the main character in the game and plays DPS that we were playing with.
Quick match. So
yeah, we're playing.
Jordan said once I get to the level and we can jump into ranked matches, everything changes. People play properly.
I would like to support you. Because when you're a tank and you have good support behind you, DPS just do whatever they want. It really, who cares about them? But when you're a tank and you have good support, you really feel like you're.
Well, so that's what I'm trying to do. But I learned at least during quick play that unranged when I couldn't go in because I'm just isolated and I can't get back. Everyone's too far away. I just have to play range, and then I have much more effect. So I was going between Thing and Hela for now.
Yeah, and when you dive in, it's always important to try to just visualize where the healers are behind you, because if you dive in and turn a corner, the healers can't see you, so they can't heal you.
The other thing I have to get used to is being able to destroy walls and stuff, because that screws me up too. I'm like, I run through a wall. Huh?
But it changes the dynamic of the game. That game's really fun.
But having said that, so as a layman, number one, I can just jump in with speed. Number two, even though I'm not like the biggest comic book guy, I have a general consensus of an idea of most of the characters and what they should do, like what kind of player they would be and what their abilities would be.
Okay,
and that helps so much, because in this game, when you first jump into one of these games, the matches are super chaotic. You don't know. you don't know what you're looking at. You're like, oh my goodness. And then when you have this variety of characters, you're like, oh, I don't even know what this character does. You deal with that a lot less. That doesn't hurt you as much because we all know who these characters are. That's a huge disadvantage, I think, for Overwatch to onboard new players. Head to head, onboarding new players, I guarantee you Marvel Rivals destroys Overwatch. Because everybody knows, like, Hulk is probably some sort of really big, strong tank-like character. The Thing is probably a really big, strong tank-like character. Iron Man, he probably flies and is probably pretty ranged with his laser bolts that he fly. You know what I mean? His fireballs that he fires out or whatever.
Yeah.
Hela. Oh, Hela. I don't know what she would do. She's probably ranged. Like there's a Overwatch doesn't have that. You have to learn about the characters. That's like this extra step you have to do. I think that's a big advantage for Marvel Rivals having that IP.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, yeah, you appeal to a wider audience with having that IP.
Yeah, and if you were to look now at any match in Overwatch, it's so complicated and there's so much going on the screen, and it's 5v5, and Marvel Rivals 6v6 is far more understandable as to what's going on at any given time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how they did that.
Well, that's what Blizzard's good at.
But
overcomplicating something that doesn't need to be overcomplicated.
I don't know how they did that, but it's
just think of their old games. Like think of classic World of Warcraft. It took away a lot of the complications of the MMOs of the time.
Like EverQuest.
Yeah. Like it took away a lot of features, quote unquote hardcore features.
StarCraft simplified Command and Conquer, and as a result made it, like, by simplifying it, you make it more in depth, actually, in this weird way, right? Like you bring extra strategy because you can dive in so much deeper, so much faster. Hearthstone, simplified Magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I heard a quote one time. The creator, or what is it? A 5-year-old is not smart because he can use a smartphone. The creator is smart because he made it so a 5-year-old could use the smartphone.
It actually
like that's
it actually is true. The gestures on the smartphone, I think, was it Steve Jobs that came up with those first gestures? I think he did. Whatever they did there is genius, because I have literally seen my children when they first use one and they never have used one before, and they like naturally like zoom in with their fingers, right? Like, and it's the zoom function. And it's like,
well, it's intuitive.
It's intuitive. Right? Yes.
No, I'm not saying that. Like,
so do you think Overwatch, in all seriousness, do you think they're in trouble? Do you think Marvel Rivals?
Yes.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's just,
you know how I know? Because they're actually trying.
It's just a better product.
Yeah.
It's a better product that appeals to a wider audience, and it's free.
But that's a good thing.
I guess
Overwatch 2 is free, but that's a good thing, because maybe Blizzard will.
They'll
have to respond somehow.
Happy
right?
Mayo in chat. Trouble. Big trouble.
Yeah. I think it's a better product. I think it's more fun. I think when I play a match of Overwatch, you're upset far more often than when you play a game of Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals is just a far more. You still get those moments of like frustration.
Yeah.
But it's far less occurring, and it's just
well,
a better game.
I think. Do you think Overwatch is going to get rid of the roll lock?
That introduces their own problems because the game was balanced. It's like a.
But it's like layers of issues.
It's layers of balancing over the course of 8 years.
Yeah, but here's my question:
complicate a non-roll.
When does fun trump balance?
In competitive.
Well, but what I'm saying, and you're right. Marvel Rivals was designed around not having a roll lock or a roll queue. Like, you can just do whatever you want. Do you think Overwatch will eventually go back to that and go back to 6v6? We already know they're testing 6v6, and did they come out with
what did Overwatch go to?
So you're in competitive, you're locked into a role, so it's 2-2-2.
Yeah, okay.
So you have 2 tanks, 2
And
healers.
You know what I mean by go back
I guess
to 6v6?
So sorry, I guess now it's 2-2-1, isn't it? In Overwatch,
correct.
Because
one
of 5?
tank,
Yeah.
1 tank, 2 DPS, 2 healers.
They went from 6 to 5.
So the game started out as 6v6, and then it went to 5v5. There's been a lot of iterations over the course of its decade of existence that have changed things significantly to address certain problems that the community was having. Shields, for example, certain characters come out that negate a whole bunch of stuff that the game was originally balanced for, blah, blah, blah. A whole bunch. And it's just a spaghetti mess of
lore issues.
Yeah, with ages.
But that's not, that's whatever. That's just dumb. But as far as like the gameplay, certain things, when a new character would come out, they would try to basically create a character that would challenge Tracer's dive. And so they created a character, Brig, that would come out. And that when Brig came out, it totally kind of broke the game in a way, because she was a tank, a healer, and she could CC a whole bunch, crowd control a whole bunch of people. And it made it was a very frustrating change, and it changed the whole dynamic. And then they come out, they can't just delete characters.
Well, yeah.
So
especially at that point, because weren't you? No, they were free back then.
After a decade of that, the game has it's in an interesting place.
Well, so I don't care the number really. Like if you want to be 5v5, that's fine. If you want to be 6v6, that's fine. I mostly care about the roll lock, because I think that causes the most contention. How long are you sitting in queue waiting for a match to play a specific role?
And see, that's part of the reason. I mean, that's one of the reasons they did that, because so many people were filling up the DPS slots that finding a match was taking so long, because everybody wanted to play DPS, because everybody wants to be the main character in any movie.
Yeah.
And that's what DPS is. And so they introduce roll locks to try to combat that. And then you have, if you play a tank, you can get in a match in 30 seconds. But if you play DPS, it takes 10 minutes. And so I think they should have just incentivized the crap out of any position that was.
Well, you know what's interesting about Marvel Rivals?
Or not
I mean,
popular.
I agree with you that like Overwatch has a decade of balance that they have to deal with, and maybe Rivals will get to that point as well. And I'll be honest, when they first introduced the roll queue, I was like, oh, cool. Like I was actually kind of for it, because then it would balance out the matches. But what's interesting about Marvel Rivals, not all the time, but I would say 80 to 90% of the time, people generally balance out like 2, and 2.
It's true
in Rivals.
And do you know why? I have a theory as to why. Every single tank, DPS, or healer, there's always a fun character to play.
Yeah.
In Overwatch, that's not necessarily the case. They really have made these characters balanced in how they play and the fun factor on how they play.
Well,
like, look at the Thing, David. Don't you love that character?
Oh, yeah.
And tanks are
cool.
tanks are generally the most unfun character to play in these games.
Yeah.
No,
And actually in any game. That's why Jordan there's one tank per raid versus 50 players.
Yeah.
It's because tanks are generally just unfun to play.
Yeah.
But they've made these characters and their abilities so fun to play that, well, there's already 2 DPS, there's already 3 DPS. I'll play Cloak and Dagger because I think Cloak and Dagger is one of the best one of the best characters in the game.
And correct me if I'm wrong on the Overwatch side. I don't think I am, but I feel like Marvel Rivals has kind of future-proofed themselves, because in the higher ranked leagues, they have a banning system.
And that's
very genius.
Valuable.
Yeah, it's what League does. You have a banning system. So if there ever is an issue or a problem, people can ban certain characters, and then you have drafting and stuff. Now Overwatch doesn't have anything like that, do they? Which is kind of like, and now what's so smart about Marvel Rivals is they only do it in Platinum and above. So they don't do it for the lower leagues, because let's be honest, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. But in the higher leagues, then they introduce is it 2 bans per?
Yeah,
or something like that.
And they have anti-bans.
Yeah, like
so
saves.
you can say you can save a character from being banned. It's actually a really cool system. Like I said, Marvel Rivals is just a big, counter.
It's what Overwatch 2 should have been.
It's not a counter. It's just quality of life updates like crazy on an old game. So
yeah, that's cool. Before we jump into our Assassin's Creed Shadows discussion, because we have played it. Well, Jordan the Man has played it, and we're going to go through it. And we're going to talk about it. I do want to just cover the Xbox AI Copilot that they released this week and showed off at GDC as well. They did it on the Xbox podcast. Is it gimmicky? I dropped a video on my channel asking, is it cool or is it gimmicky? And I think it could be cool. I think it's the foundation of AI on the user base side. Now, everybody knows I'm super hyped on AI. If you actually go to YouTube, you can grab the commercial.
Is this it right here?
That's the entire podcast. Those are screenshots of it.
Okay, here I'll just give me a sec.
But yeah, it's like a 30 seconds. Actually, you may only be able to get it on Twitter. But anyways, so what it is AI Copilot right now is just on your handheld device, your Xbox app, and you can say what they do is they go through in the commercial, 30-second commercial. There you go. That's it. Okay. Wait, that's not it.
This isn't it?
No, that's not it.
Let me mute everything.
Fast forward a little bit here. Yeah, this is the lame. This one was like, yeah, that's not it. That's an old one. Yeah, that's not it at all. It's hideous. What is that crap?
What is that disgusting
that?
crap?
Here, I'll get it. You keep talking. I'll find it.
They drop the trailer and it's on your handheld device, and what it does is it starts out and it says, hey Xbox, I would like to, or hey Copilot, I don't remember how they're talking to it. I'm thinking about getting into Age of Empires again. Please install that on my Xbox for me. Okay, we'll install it. Would you like a recap of where you left off? Yes, please. That I think is not gimmicky at all. If AI could solve the recap issue for me directly on my console, that's huge. Huge. If you go, Spicy, actually, if you go to my channel, and hey, look at me. There I am, 3 down.
Oh my gosh.
Dang, I am on the
You
SEO.
are on fire. I'm gonna show everybody this.
I'm the SEO man.
I don't even know if you can see
And
this,
that's Brave, so that's not tracking your cookies.
No, look at that. Number
cookie
3
free.
right here, everybody.
Right there.
Wow.
Yeah, if you go to that, just click on my channel though. And then one of the shorts I run, you could hit loop on the short and it plays through the commercial. You just hit my name. Right there.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
Yeah. And then go to shorts.
Okay.
And then it is the second one over. There you go. And it's just down there. So that's the commercial down there.
Okay.
So yeah, you can see this is downloading now. Would you like a recap of where you left off? Sure. That's huge. I think that's absolutely big. And then it shows, okay, I'm here in Minecraft. I'm playing the game. Hey, I've got some wood from a tree. What do I do with it? It tells you. You got to open up your planks, and here's what you can craft. Now they're doing a boss fight. This looks like Age of Empires. What's the best way to take out this beast? Boom. Here are some tips while you're playing. So this is on the Xbox side. Well, I would turn off closed captioning if you can.
I can't. I don't know how to.
The three buttons above my face, right there. Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah. I hate auto caption.
Yeah, it's so foolish. Is it gimmicky? Yes, some of this is gimmicky. Like, why do I need to talk to my hand to say, hey, download Age of Empires? What does that say to me? A second? But remember, this is just the foundation. When I'm huge on AI, a lot of people aren't. But where I'm most huge on it is on the developer side of stuff and on the in-game. Like, how does AI help immerse you in the game more by creating real-time events with NPCs, creating real-time responses unique to your experience in the game, stuff like that. I think it's going to be huge. Increasing dev time, stuff like that. What Xbox is doing here is how can we use AI from the user side? And I think it's cool. Some of it is going to be gimmicky as we go along. Some of it's going to be a party trick in the same way that when Siri first came out, it wasn't really useful. It was just a party trick. Hey, look, I can talk to my phone. Check it out, guys. Oh, man. But what the most useful part of all this, guys, tell me what you think. Recap. Hey, can you recap this for me? I forget where I'm at.
Probably recap.
Yeah.
One thing I don't like is games when they tell me how to do everything. Like they don't give me time to figure anything out.
Yep.
Any Ubisoft game, for example, doesn't give me time to. It just goes, you walk into a room. Oh, I bet you it's probably by the painting. It doesn't give me. Having something like this motivates a developer to not put that in the game, so I can never use it if I don't want to.
Yeah, and then it's optional because a lot of people are like, well, this makes gaming too easy. Not really.
It's optional.
It's totally optional. Yeah.
It makes gaming too easy. Yet the same people are writing those articles about Dark Souls being too hard.
Yeah, it's really it's really the same people that are giving you the cheeses on YouTube.
I give it a if it makes it so developers don't put easiness. Well, not the easiness, just that aspect of gaming, because I think that's so prevalent in gaming right now, and I hate it. I want to figure things out. I want the dopamine hit that I get when I solve a puzzle. I don't.
And then if you're getting too frustrated, there's the safety net for you.
Well, and how many tutorial guide tips and tricks videos are on YouTube that people are looking up? This is almost almost like a beta version of
this is where the argument of AI is going to destroy entire industries. Yeah. It probably it's going to change them for sure. Like if you're, I think the future of gaming content, if this becomes the main, let's hypothetically, it may not. Let's pretend it does though. If this becomes the main, it becomes the norm in all of games where I just need to ask the game while I'm playing it, and it brings up really good tips and tricks. It's really using your videos to summarize if you're creating them. So you'll probably get less views. So perhaps we'll get less channels dedicated to one game that are just going over tips and tricks, and the entertainment aspect of that content creation, you'll need to adjust to something else, basically, in order to have the same success. So there's definitely going to be adjustments there. Overall, I think it creates a plethora of opportunities in gaming, particularly, like I said, on the dev side, but also here on the user side, and I do think it's interesting. Once again, I think some of it's going to be gimmicky, but the recap, imagine the biggest pain right now is when you step away, like for even Kingdom Come Deliverance. I don't play for a week, and on the weekends, I'm trying to dive in. I've got to take like 5 minutes and think, okay, what was I doing? If I could just say, hey, recap what happened for me.
One of the criticisms really this is going to make gaming too easy?
Yeah, that's literally one of the I could pull up like 10 articles.
Because that's incredibly foolish. Because
they already are.
Yeah, where was that criticism when Doom came out with their they talk about it under accessibility modes, but when Doom came out with their fine tuning difficulty, so you can difficult how fast or quick your glory kills come out. Like it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
But why is this making games too easy? But developers actually Assassin's Creed Shadows. Literally on the hardest difficulty, one of the easiest games I've ever played in my life.
The people that are complaining about that don't know how to double jump.
This is true.
So I get that. I get where they're coming from. When a pigeon can beat you in a tutorial level,
like the dude from
Cuphead, the journalist that played Cuphead, look it up. It's hilarious.
Takanaka is his name,
and it shows it right there. Double jump, and he spends 5-10 minutes,
and it's the tutorials.
And so I get when that's how you play games. Sure. Well, sure. I guess you want to know where that is when you walk in a room.
The other critique on AI that I hate is this will make all games bland and generic. Oh, you mean like we already have a plethora of now?
You mean like yeah.
Have you ever browsed? Have you ever browsed the App Store on your phone?
So ever? That's why I'm saying if this makes it so developers make games naturally harder because this exists, then I'm all for it.
No. Well, here's the thing. They actually won't need to because AI will be implemented that's spicy. As you play, it will adjust difficulty, the AI, based on how you're playing constantly on the fly for you. So you'll remain the same difficulty throughout a game. As you get better at something, the game in theory becomes easier.
See, now you're making me not like it.
But you could also turn that feature off.
Okay, because why I like Dark Souls and why I like any of those style of games is the skill checks in the game. I love skill checks where you're playing, you hit a boss you can't beat, you spend a day, figure it out. Okay,
but imagine now there's an achievement for like as you're playing, you could say like what level of difficulty are you on?
See,
and the game is measuring your skill.
But see,
here's giving you a score for that.
Here's the thing: those achievements have in the last decade been removed. Because I assume this is me guessing why they removed those. They
want achievement hunters.
Well, they want 100% achievements to be available to everybody, not just good gamers.
Yeah.
And I disagree with that. Well, I think achievements should be something that you achieve.
Yeah, I agree. Especially like the last one. Those ones there should be some difficulty there as you increase.
Yeah, like you can beat. I mean, the both recent most on Star Wars, you can make it so it's just you can basically press the joystick forward and you just go through and just cut everybody up, never die, and you get all the achievements in the game, all the Assassin's Creeds in the last 10 years. All these games have removed the difficulty achievements that Halo, we'll say the original Halo, started implementing Halo 2, because those achievements were very difficult. I still haven't beaten, what is it, the space station level on Legendary by myself. I've done it with Jordan. I've done it.
And then you have like lasso achievements and stuff like that are
really
incredibly difficult.
Incredibly difficult. Though that day and age is gone because they want, I guess, achievement hunters to play the game.
Achievement humpers.
Achievement hunters. Hey, that's actually
that's cool.
That's a good metaphor.
Why I wish Xbox would implement what True Achievements does. Genius. Shout out to True Achievements, the website. They have a score that weights. So there's two scores. There's your actual achievement score that Xbox gives you, and then there's the true achievement score that weights all those achievements. So like
how hard
the harder achievements are more valuable, worth more points. I wish Xbox would implement that as well.
Xbox kind of has that with their rare achievements, but there's not a section that says how many rare achievements you have or anything like that. But
yeah. Absolutely. Anyways, really interesting.
It's a fascinating. I can see why people are like, it's going to make games. I can see that argument, but at the same time, I can see that they're wrong. You know,
well, yeah, it will make a lot of generic. It will make a lot of generic games, of course, and it will make a lot of games easier for a lot of people, sure. But it also will make a lot of games a lot harder, a lot more enjoyable. It will also give us a lot more crazy, unique experiences. I think a lot of people that are AI is bad, no matter what, always, always, always. Here's looking at you, Paul Tassi. Haven't used it. Like, if you use it, you can see how I use it every single day in my job. I use multiple AI. Like, we're always looking for ways on how we can maximize it, not just to make your job easier, but to make the experience better for users as well. And you can see, like the summary feature, people in my comment section on the video that I did said, well, it's just summarizing what levels you've beaten. No, bro. AI can already today summarize very well things. So it could summarize, hey, you made this choice. Remember when you talked to this player? I think that's probably able to do that today.
You're gonna, with that alone, you're gonna get me to beat a lot more games because.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, the biggest problem I have jumping into, let's say, like, I still have yet to beat Final Fantasy 16, and I love that game. It's on there. But the thing that's holding me back is the controls, because I've played all these other games, and I know I'm at a difficult part of the game, and going back into it, I'm gonna have that 30 minutes of, how do I write your?
Yeah, imagine just being able to ask that, and then it pops up and tells you.
Yeah, it just instantly tells you.
I think awesome. The recap thing is the biggest thing, because what prevents me from beating a lot of games, particularly like big open world, Kingdom Come Deliverance, loving that game. But if you step away because you're distracted by all these other games, and you step away for, let's say, a month, you're 20 hours in, and you come back, you don't remember. Yeah, that. How many times have I restarted Witcher 3?
Yeah, you've done that Bloody Baron so many times.
That if I could come back in and it recaps you, maybe I don't restart it, and I'm able to over time continue to push forward and beat that game.
And we have that same problem we talked about at the beginning of the show. We're min-maxing time. We have limited time to game.
We have the same problem. We're men. That's our problem. We are men.
Too many responsibilities.
I think you were laughing at Ryan's comment. Ryan Consign, I think is how you say the name. So apologies if I got your name wrong. I'm starting a new site called Achievement Humpers.
Achievement Humpers is hilarious.
It's an OnlyFans site. Happy Mayo says, getting old sucks, not remember where we were. Yeah, I never remember. I do want to shout out Warren Cooper. Dylan Johnson is here in the chat as well. You guys are the best. Thank you very much. Warren Cooper dropped a super chat, Wingman, for 52 months. Woo. Thank you very much. Appreciate all your support. For everybody that doesn't know, if you want to support the show, you can come over to YouTube, hit that join button. You get a membership badge, you get special unique emotes, and also you get access to the very exclusive, very naughty, very fun after show, in which what we're going to look up on the after show that we said at the beginning. We're looking up something cool that we probably will forget about. This is why we need AI to recap what we said. See, we need it already. Let's jump into Assassin's Creed Shadow. That's the title of this show. That's, I'm sure, why you're tuning in. Is it a success or failure? Jordan Man has played this game.
It launched last night. Today, but last night because of how
launched last night. Let's start here before we jump into the actual gameplay and what's happening. I have never seen a company, Ubisoft, shoot itself in the foot multiple times over the last year.
Well, Blizzard had a good 4 years.
Blizzard, yeah.
Huh.
Well, the problem with Ubisoft, let's just say it, they basically what they're doing and why people are upset with this game, like the real reason that people are upset is
not
because
people that are fake upset.
Yeah, but like the reason people are upset with this game is because Ubisoft has basically made a game about feudal Japan, and they are taking the stance of authority that everything they put in the game is quote unquote historically accurate, and
that was their talking point.
Yeah, that was their talking point.
A year ago.
Then they walked that back.
When it first started dropping what this game was.
Then they walked that back a little bit. But and this is just like, I think, the public perception of Ubisoft. Whether it's what they're trying to do or not, this is the public perception to the general audience. Correct. Is that, again, they are the authority on a culture, or they are presenting themselves as an authority on a culture that doesn't belong to them.
And I think Ubisoft is French?
Yeah, and the studios developing this are Canadian.
French-Canadian. The worst kind of Canadian. Yeah, they're from Montreal. That's French Canada.
Quebec?
Listen,
yeah, it's actually Ubisoft. Quebec,
I lived in Canada for 2 years. Let me tell you. Everybody, French-Canadian, the worst kind of Canadian. Okay?
He's got an authority.
Yeah, I have authority there.
Yeah.
So. No, and it's just, and that's, and I think now whether it's what they're trying to do or not, or whether you agree with me on that analysis, it's how the public is perceiving this. I mean, and case in point, literally this game was talked about in Japanese parliament about how disrespectful it was to their culture.
The Prime Minister of Japan. Here's the thing. Here we've been texting each other over the last few days because Jordan Man has been excited to play this and he's jumping in. And all of this is outside the gameplay. So to be clear, none of this is affecting.
And this is what I think the reason people are upset with.
Yeah,
Ubisoft.
None of this is going to affect Jordan the Man's review on the gameplay. This is just a statement of a company just shooting itself in the foot constantly. When it goes outside, because for the last year, largely the debate here has been in the gaming world. Hey, this doesn't look very accurate. Are you sure this is historically accurate? Ubisoft punching back at their detractors. Yes, it's accurate. Here's our person. It's historically accurate. Then they have a guy go change his Wikipedia page.
Yeah, well, there's just
lifetime changing on the Wikipedia page to verify that it's true.
It feels like, and again,
well, let me finish my statement. That's happening all throughout the years. Then, Ubisoft the game comes out, Japan.
Well,
it's broken into mainstream.
You didn't even talk about the Torygate issue. There was the whole Torygate issue that they had problems with.
Then the game drops. Japan's prime minister gave a speech slamming this game and slamming developers for using their culture, Japanese culture, inaccurately. Day one patch, by the way, after this speech. Day one patch for Assassin's Creed is Ubisoft coming in because you could go in and you had to break shrines.
So basically, it's you have the freedom to break things, which is more than can be said about Avowed. So at least they have that. But
little jab.
Ooh, bitterness much? Bitter much?
So what you can do is everything is like has physics to it, right? You can swipe your sword and actually sometimes it's cool because you'll be fighting and you'll swipe your sword and bamboo will cut down and stuff like that. But what they did is you were allowed to go into prayer shrines and destroy the prayer shrine, and that's like a big no-no for Japanese culture. And what I think what people have to understand is you got a lot of people picking one side or the other. Is in Western culture, people don't care if you're disrespectful. In Japanese culture, it's a very big deal.
Well, but none of this would matter. Ubisoft shot themselves in the foot because none of this would matter if Ubisoft didn't come out and really push hard back against, no, we've done our research. This is very historic. The guy that they hired to do their research came out and pushed back. No, this is historically accurate. You're the one that's wrong. Oh, here's this obscure story that we're focusing on. It's really historically accurate. Come to find out over time, it's not. And then, oh, by the way, Japan when it gets to Japan's prime minister and it makes news and goes viral on Twitter in not gaming sources, in mainstream large news accounts, you've messed up, Ubisoft. And it's unfortunate.
And it's different than when Grand Theft Auto makes the news, because this made it to the actual government level.
Well, and so here's the thing. If Ubisoft never came out and said, look, no, this is super destroyed, we're being super sensitive to Japan culture, I don't think any of this matters. You could just say, Japan, it's a game. Like, we're going to do what we want in our game. Sorry that you feel like that. Sorry you feel this way. We're moving on. Like, I don't think you have to be historically accurate at all. I don't think that's what makes an Assassin's Creed game fun or not fun. It may be an added bonus if there's a little bit nod to history there, sure. But it doesn't need to be historically accurate. But you went out of your way to insist that it was, only to find out that not only isn't it, you're insulting an entire culture by claiming that it is when it's not.
Then what's funny is because Ubisoft did come out with an apology letter about 3-4 months ago saying like, hey, this is a work of fiction. We do take historical elements, but we're telling our own story, blah, blah, blah. But that's after the game director specifically quoted, like what you said, like, we are being historically accurate.
It's just that they dug in.
Beyond that, again, the issue comes from you are taking the standpoint of your views on what Japanese culture should be is superior, is morally superior than what they actually are. Yeah. And that's the perception. I'm not saying that that's what they're trying to do, but that's the perception. Well, that's the public perception of Ubisoft.
And it's a shame because, by all accounts, Assassin's Creed is doing some good things here.
I think
in the game, in the world, they always nail the world. They always nail like just cool feeling environments. Like, look at this battle. This battle is cool. Like the set piece,
combat is much better.
Still so not, good,
like great. But
and so you've shot yourself in the foot so many times, and now you've made international news. And
well, it feels like
that how many people aren't going to play your game because of that now,
especially with the Torygate incident. Like the Ultimate Edition came with this Torygate that was like the Torygate is half destroyed, which is a famous landmark in Japan because it's one of the only things that survived the nuclear bomb. So it's a very sensitive thing.
Yeah. They
completely canceled that edition because it was offensive. Like, it feels like they sat and Googled cool Japanese things.
Well, they did exactly what happened. And I'm sorry if you guys disagree with this, that's fine. You disagree with our perspective here on this, but they did what they hired the same writers for Lord of the Rings, Ring of Power. It's arrogance. It's this arrogance of youth that we know better, and we're going to tell this story through our own biases, our ideological
of what we believe,
point of what it should be,
of what we believe your culture should be,
paying no actual respect to the source material. That's all they did here. And you don't have to. If you don't have to, if Assassin's Creed is not about paying respect to the source material of a culture,
it never really has.
It's a video game.
They took historical, like, if you take Assassin's Creed 2, Leonardo da Vinci was in it.
Yeah.
But obviously maybe we don't. I mean, Leonardo da Vinci didn't fix the hidden blade for Ezio. Yeah. I mean, maybe he did. I don't know. But
maybe it has not his journals.
Yeah.
But they went out of their way to say, like, to bash any critics and say, like, no, you guys don't know. We are the authority on this. Watch.
Now, icing on the cake, this is why I'm not sure what we can say, because this week they teamed up with the Canadian government and they're going after any targeted harassment.
Yeah, as someone who has a very public profile at a gaming company, a mobile gaming company, and gets harassed all the time, I can tell you I don't understand that move at all.
Explain the move. So
what happened was Ubisoft basically teamed. Ubisoft is coming down. There's a really funny part about this. Ubisoft is coming down hard about protecting their employees.
Well, so they just made an announcement.
They have teamed up with the Canadian government agency, and they are ready to use lawyers if need be to go after targeted harassment of their game. Now, wait, hold on. Here's the problem. If I say, hey, your game sucks, is that targeted harassment? That's the problem. They're defining what targeted harassment is.
Well, no. But the thing is legally speaking, there's not a whole lot. In Canada, maybe. I don't know the rules in Canada, but that's only going to be a subset of your... So I'll take the U.S. as an example, because I have experience with this, like, as someone who... Anyways, I have lots of experience with this. There is very little you can do in the U.S., for instance, unless there is a specific threat to life, in which case, yeah, absolutely.
Well,
That's out of control.
I think any normal person is also saying like no one should threaten the lives of Ubisoft
course.
developers.
Of course, that's retarded.
Yeah.
But harassment and trolling, there's really nothing you can do. And in the US, for instance, it varies state to state. So like some states have stuff you could do, some states you don't. Really, you want to know what you can do? Is all you can do in most cases, unless, like I said, there's an extreme threat, send a strongly worded letter from a lawyer to cease and desist. But in this case, where it's going to be a one-off, where like, hey, you guys suck, I hate you. And to be clear, I do empathize with any developers because in the gaming world, like we're used to interacting with normal people. Trust me when I tell you, when you're dealing with large audiences with 1 million people, there are some psychopaths out there that will obsess over you, that will dox you, that will share pictures of your family,
But see,
will email your family to their private email addresses, that will just be that will create an account sharing the daily weather report from your city that you're in.
But again, any normal person understands that is actual harassment.
No. Okay. That has all happened to me. There's nothing legally I can do.
No,
about it.
I get that.
Nothing.
But any normal person can stand here and say, "Hey, that's bad. People shouldn't do that."
Yeah.
The problem with this is Ubisoft, again, maybe they're not, but the perception comes off as they're going to use this to say, "Hey, I think your game sucks." And everybody's going to be like, "Oh, well, that's your
To be fair, they didn't announce it. It was leaked from someone who talked to someone on the team that says that that's what they're doing.
What I think is hilarious about this is as they announced that, their headquarters in France is being summoned to court for sexual harassment charges.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of a little irony there.
Okay, let's get that's all stuff that doesn't have to do with the game at all. The only point there is,
What a shame.
what a shame, because it sounds like the game is pretty decent and is doing some things
think
really
so, yeah.
some things really well here for the series. How many people aren't going to jump in to experience it because of all this noise that has nothing to do with the gameplay?
Mm-hmm.
So Jordan, give me your thoughts about Assassin's Creed Shadows.
So where I'm at right now, I think it's a pretty decent game. Like, I'll say this, I think it's better than Avowed. I'm having more fun with it than Avowed. I think they've done a lot of cool. Okay, first off, the game is gorgeous. So this is the.
I mean, it does look cool from what we've seen.
This is the first Assassin's Creed that's made specifically for current gen consoles. So PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, and PCs.
So can you not get it on Xbox One?
No previous gen. It's new stuff only, and you can tell. Like it feels like a step forward in graph. And I'm playing on performance mode. Which is I'm playing on the Xbox, so I'm playing on performance mode, which is prioritizing frame rate, and the game still looks gorgeous. Like the way the wind moves, it almost reminds me a little bit of Ghost of Tsushima. You know how the wind was your nav point?
Yeah,
it's not like that in this game, but because you're in canyons and mountains, there's a lot of wind, so leaves are flying across. Characters look good. Another thing that I like that they're doing is you can tell they are doubling down and really focusing on story. Now, that comes with its caveats, like okay, let's get on with this cutscene. You know what I mean? Like let's get moving.
So I have heard that the first 2 hours are pretty slow, and once you get past that, it really picks up.
What annoys me about the first couple hours of the game is, and I don't know whose decision this was, but so what happens? I'm going to talk about the first hour of the game.
I bet you it was Jill's.
Yeah,
decision.
Probably. The first hour of the game, you start out with Yasuke. It shows you like an intro cutscene of Yasuke and who he is and kind of how he comes to be. And then you play maybe a 5 to 10 minute tutorial, and it's teaching you right bumper, heavy attack, right trigger, or right bumper, light attack. Here's how you block. It's teaching you all this stuff. Because after the intro cutscene, you get thrust into like 2 years later, there's this big war going on. Right?
Okay.
And then it does something cool. After you do that, and it teaches you like Yasuke can do this, he can run through doors, he can blah blah blah, right? All this combat stuff, yeah. Then it jumps over to Nawe, and it shows her perspective from that same war.
Oh, that's cool.
And then it goes, okay, right bumper, and you're like, oh, I literally just did this. I know right bumper attacks, but it's kind of showing you like she's a little bit different.
Sure.
You maybe need to dodge more with her, blah blah blah, right? So then you go through her kind of intro tutorial, and then stuff happens and they do this thing where it's a flashback, and this is specifically for story.
This is what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, they do this is the beginning. They do a flashback to 2 years previous, and you're Nawe, and what it does is you go out and you basically do a sparring session with your dad. And the reason it's doing this is specifically for story. It wants to connect you and show their relationship and stuff like that.
Cool.
What annoys me is, again, you're going, okay, the game slows down and goes right bumper to attack. And you're like, I literally just did this twice.
Yeah.
And then you go through and you do your chores, and your chores are climb to the top. And it's like, I literally, I know what all this does. You just taught this to me in the last level. Like, we don't need to teach. There's a lot of
it's like repetitive,
and
tutorials.
that's what I'm saying. There's repetitive fluff that doesn't need to be there. I understand why you're doing it from a story perspective, but you could have done that part. It's just there's repetitive fluff.
That seems to be the consensus from what I've seen, is that the first 2 hours people almost put it down.
Well, because it's like,
and then once you get past that, it goes. Which I have to say, Ubisoft, that was my problem with Valhalla. Like, you got to get over this. We're on Assassin's Creed. What is this? 8, 9?
I don't know. There's a lot of them.
We know how to play the game.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and it's pretty basic gameplay.
Yeah, we cannot have the tutorial. Just let us play.
The problem is it's like it's not a hard game.
You know what they should do, honestly? Ubisoft. I know I insulted you French Canadians, but listen. You could win my respect. Here's what you do. Just treat it like a multiplayer game in this respect. Have campaign on the main menu. Let's jump in and play. No tutorials are in there. Right underneath that campaign button, there's a tutorial button. And if I want to, I can go in there and you can teach me all the things. And then just let me play the game. Just start the game. Go. Because it seems like...
Well, what is nice is they're very heavily focusing on story.
I like that.
There's a lot more cutscenes. There's a lot more dialogue. You can tell they're coming at this from a story perspective. Now, like I said, there's some times where it's like kind of like, all right, guys, let's get on with it here. I know what we're doing. Let's go. But no, there's the other thing, and they've nailed this in every single Assassin's Creed. The world is really cool. And what's really cool about this world in particular is because it's Japan. Now, I've never been to Japan, so I don't necessarily know the landscapes.
Twice. Have you been to feudal Japan, David?
I've never been to feudal Japan, but I once in my dreams.
Okay.
But
in my dreams in Spanish.
It's very vertical. Like, there's mountains and winding roads.
Do you dream in Spanish?
Sometimes.
I have dreamed in Spanish.
Sometimes it's like Spanish gibberish, like
you're watching a soap opera, a novela.
Like y ojos y naranjas, estos novelas de la biblioteca.
You are saying Spanish words, but they don't go together.
Yeah. It's just gibberish. And then put it really fast.
So no, the world, it's much more vertical than other Assassin's Creed. So, like, if we go back to Valhalla, like, England is very flat. I mean, it's hilly a little bit, but it's a very flat area. This is there's a lot of canyons and mountains, and you got to take your horse and go down these trails into the cities. It's very vertical in the world, and it makes it look really cool.
Well, I will say, just watching what we're seeing here, it seems like there's a scale to the world.
No, there is.
And it's like, whoa.
So there's a lot of stuff they've done, I think, a good job with. Now, we'll see how the story ends up going. I mean, of course, these games are over the course of 20 to 30 hours. I will say this. One criticism I have, and I think a lot of Assassin's Creeds have gotten away from this, I don't know how this game is going to go. They haven't really talked about it yet.
How many hours are you in on this?
About 4 or 5.
Okay.
So I don't know how this one's going to go because, we'll see. But I really miss, like, Assassin's Creed 1 and the Ezio trilogy, and even 3 to an extent, of, like, building the creed. You are the Assassin's Creed. The Templars are out there. It felt like there was weight to these stories in the first game, in the Ezio trilogy, even Assassin's Creed 3 to an extent. And then 4 was fine because by the time that came around, the Desmond Miles story was kind of done and over. Sure. So when Black Flag came out, it was basically like, you're at Abstergo making a video game. But the game was so fun, no one really cared about the Abstergo stuff. Now it's just kind of like, I just miss Templars and especially like the Ezio trilogy building up the creed.
But they may come here. If you're only 4 or 5 hours,
that may change.
Yeah.
But
But at least maybe in the past ones, it was
even,
right away that storyline.
But no, even in Valhalla, like I don't remember much about. Like they may have touched on it, but it wasn't super intense. Yeah. Although I didn't finish Valhalla because one thing this game does do good is there's not 100 dumbass dreamstones that I have to collect to finish the game. They've actually dialed some of that back. I don't feel overwhelmed being in the open world.
That's good. That's good.
Now there is still like collectible prayer shrines doing all this stuff, but I don't feel as overwhelmed as I did in freaking Valhalla.
Spicy Templars in Valhalla, do you remember? Did they focus on that at all?
Well, those basically became the sheriffs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that walk around, and then if you kill them, you can build up your character, stuff like that. What's funny is, as I'm watching this gameplay, it makes me realize that Far Cry and this game are basically the same, just third person versus third person guns versus weapons. That I don't know if that's good.
I mean, that's what we talked about last week when we were talking. Remember, we were talking about what games you would be, and it's like the problem with Ubisoft. It feels like a lot of the games, when you look at it as a publisher, are exactly what you said. Like it's the same.
There's definitely a formula to Ubisoft games. I do think this veers from that formula a little bit.
Oh, really? Really?
But
well, just like tagging, just like the tagging mechanic, like we're watching right now.
But the tagging mechanic works, right?
It's different now because you don't have your eagle anymore. You just hold the trigger and look.
But that's what I'm saying. It's gone away from the Assassin's Creed eagle vision.
Yeah,
I prefer this way better.
Okay,
because it's more efficient. It's easier. You don't have to like hit eagle vision and go up to your eagle, fly around for 10 minutes, and then come back down.
I get what
like
you're saying.
It's all organic.
I like
it. It feels more like you're scouting.
So I think this is a personal preference, so it's not a critique on the game. I like the Hitman style. Take your time. You know, this character's gonna be here going around this corner. Okay, this is my main assassination point. This is who I got to take out. Blah blah blah. Whereas so I like that style. This is more arcadey, where you can just go in, tag them for forever, forget about them, and then just get what you loot, maybe, and then just bounce.
Yeah,
you know, it's so. I think that's a personal preference. I like like I say, I like the stealth of games.
Well, if you played this game, you would be her because she's
100% yes.
She's the more
100% yes.
Like the problem is you're still not necessarily punished for going loud, and the reason you're not punished is because combat is so easy.
That's what I'm saying.
It may take longer with her because she's a little bit like weaker, not as tanky as Yasuke is.
Because they hate stealth games.
Yeah, but like, I mean, if you get overwhelmed, I guess you'll die. But the combat's really, especially like coming from Dark Souls and parrying and stuff like that.
What do you think the reason they go away from the more stealth?
Because
stuff?
it's more niche. It's not as popular, and it's
wider
like,
audience.
There are more gamers like you, David, than like me, where you just like to go loud and
I'll go loud and proud,
and bash open a door and just here I am. Let's
hey everybody,
entertain me.
John Wick it.
You like the, although John Wick I would say is the in between. He's the loud, silent type.
Have you watched the last John Wick 4?
No.
Oh, dude, you got to.
It's on my. I don't have time. See, that's awesome.
That was cool.
That's what I love Assassin's Creed games though, like the assassination, where then it takes you right into a cutscene. I missed the cutscene, and that's it.
Yeah, that was
just to
get
that was just to complete the mission.
Here's the problem I have.
So
because and that's I think what you're getting.
This person can just run like that. That's the idea. It's trying to almost do what the first game did: assassinate and run. The problem is in the first game when you assassinated and had to run, you could get overwhelmed very easily. In this game, combat's so easy that she can fight 4 people. It may take longer than if you were Yasuke because Yasuke's designed to go in there and just bash people.
Yeah,
but you can still do it.
See, and I think this is what was your point, Jordan. When in the old games, when you assassinate somebody, that's when you pushed forward the creed, because you'd have that cutscene where you talk to them.
Even
you know what I mean? And then it pushes forward the creed.
Yeah.
Sorry. Even in like Origins, they did a little bit. Like you got the like how their fingers came off and with the hidden blade and stuff like that. So like even Origins had a little bit of the. They called themselves the hidden ones that, it kind of had a little bit of that beginnings of it. But I really miss like the Ezio trilogy of building up
I will say
the Creed,
the fighting
you against the Templars, like going after the pieces of Eden. And I understand that story is over, but think of a new story to tell.
Every character in those old games was an enemy of the Creed, and that's why you had those discussions and it pushed forward the story. Whereas this is like a FedEx, or not a FedEx,
Like,
not a.
again,
it's just a chore. Just hey, go take that out, and then okay,
Yeah.
and it doesn't.
Like,
It doesn't
I will say
push
the
story.
fighting though,
Yeah, it
does
looks good,
look-
and I
it's
think
really
because of your playstyle.
it's really smooth.
Well, and I
like-
think it's better than like previous entries, but it's just the problem. I think is it's just even on hard difficulty, it's just incredibly easy.
yeah.
Like once you get
Well, and I've seen the
I've seen the blue counter, red dodge.
So I've never seen her fight
Like-
scenes now until this. I've seen
I will admit-
his fight scenes, and he like is just like chopping off people's arms.
I will
He's a
admit-
tight end.
It's fantastic.
He
I
just
will
runs
admit,
in.
She's
Looks cool.
She is a little bit jumpy. Like sometimes she you step.
She's
off
a wide receiver.
You step off a crate and she does like this insane parkour flippity flip flop, and you're like, did you really need to do
Like,
that?
bro, you're
Like off
just
the crate?
showing-
Like
you're
yeah,
just
like,
showing off,
you're a little bit jumpy. but-
No, you do.
It does look like a next gen game though. Like
No,
you're
it does.
just
It
even watching,
definitely-
like you can see.
It
And
definitely
that,
does.
That's to the physics here, and the movement like is smooth as you're even transitioning between different areas.
Now, but like the thing is like the only thing we've seen in this, again, I'm not far in this game, so I can't say. I never finished Valhalla because of stupid Dreamstones. And to get the true ending, how much you had to do.
Yeah, Blake says, you do get the story. You just have to 100% the game.
Yeah. So, but even in Valhalla, like I don't remember them necessarily. Like there may have been one scene with Bassam or something like that, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we have the Creed, cool. Go get those Dreamstones."
That's what I'm saying.
So,
I missed the
and
days.
in this game, the only time so far, like there's no like, why does she have a hidden blade? Okay, so apparently she's connected to the assassin somehow, and then you saw at the beginning when she puts
but
the
Jordan,
blade in
you're
as a
only-
key again. But I'm just saying that's going back. Like Odyssey had nothing to do with any assassins.
Yeah, okay.
like at all.
Okay, but this game, you're only 4 hours in. That all could
That's
come.
what I just said. But if it follows the trend, then there's not going to be much like assassins,
I will say
Templars.
what I'm seeing here, just watching this gameplay.
Well, and this is the story I'm telling you about. There's
Yeah.
much more of this.
Yeah, it looks cool, dude. Like this would convince me to buy it if all I was doing is watching this. Again,
Yeah, it's funny how so many departments and developers are trying to get the people to not buy the game.
Yeah.
Whereas the game,
like
the
if
game
all
should
you do is be quiet and show your game, you've hooked me. But how many people are not going to buy this game because of all the noise and it just becomes a joke? It's become a joke. They've become a punchline, and you've broken into mainstream. That's how you know it's a real issue. Hopefully, we'll see how the game plays out. As of right now, oh, that's creepy, dude. That mask. As of right now, Jordan, highly recommend this game. Not recommend it.
Well,
so.
it's too. I mean, with it being $70, it's too hard to say. I am enjoying. I don't think it's perfect by any means because there is some frustrating stuff in it.
Yeah.
But so far, it's holding my attention and I'm interested.
Yeah. Here's the thing: Japan,
Yeah,
feudal Japan, samurais. You got to try really hard to screw that up. I think.
Well, and they definitely met that bar.
they're doing their best
Yeah,
to screw it up.
they are doing their best.
They're
to,
doing
to
their
hit
best
that
to
bar.
screw that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
are.
it's so funny if all they did was like show off this screenshot, this video that we watched here, this cutscene that we're in, like everyone's super hyped. All right, we're Last Samurai in it here. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, that is badass.
Oh yeah. Oh, dude, see? Like, yes, this is the game I want to play.
Surprisingly, I think Nawe is actually a good character.
Surprisingly,
Well, no, because of how Ubisoft presents their characters, you
I
think,
see.
oh, this person's going to be annoying.
how
as
they've
crap.
recently,
Yeah, but like, no, Nawe is actually I mean, you're kind of forced to play as her because Ubisoft they didn't lie, but the way they describe their games, well, because like a while back they came out with a developer diary, and they say, hey, we're having these two protagonists.
I have a diary.
They're completely different. You can swap between them and play at them as you see fit. And it's like, okay, that's true to an extent. But then like 10 minutes later, they say, oh, yeah, and we have specific missions where you can only play as Yasuke, so it helps vary gameplay. It's like, well, you just said I could play as who I want to play, but now you're making me play as... You get to play as Yasuke for the first like 5 minutes, and then after that, you don't play as him for another 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Because of how story, and that's that 2 hours everybody is talking about. And it's like, guys, just let me do what I want.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there you go. Well, so Jordan, answer.
So you're
recommend?
surprisingly good.
but so it's better than I thought it would be, considering how hard Ubisoft is trying to get people to not like this game.
Yeah.
But no, I think, and look, I
My
am obviously coming from the perspective of an American.
Yeah.
Now, if you're in Japan and some of the stuff they're doing may offend you a lot more than it's offending me.
Well,
But-
here's the thing, it's a video game. I really don't think you should be offended. I think where they got into trouble is, I mean, I can't tell
They
people
were-
I don't
they
think
were
you should be offended,
preaching,
but
basically.
Ubisoft was like, no, this is historically accurate. We know what we're doing. We're being incredibly sensitive. Like, that's where you got into trouble. No, just say it's a video game, dude. Like, it's a video game. We're gonna do
But
what we want in our
see
world.
this stuff, like, that's, you know, an important character to her, but like, again, much more story driven.
I like that.
Yeah.
I want that in my life. My wife and I are looking at a game to play together. Like, do you know where, like, I could play, she could watch, vice versa. She could play some, and then I could watch. This might be it, actually. Like, it looks like a cool story.
Sorry, I'm laughing at Blake because he collected all those stupid dream stones.
Well, that's what kept me in that
and-
stupid vision.
And I actually think, because Blake told me, he says, "Hey, I got the ending, but you have to do this. You have to complete this 100%, this 100%, and then this to get the true ending." And I was like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like my mental state, but this is also coming off of, like, I think we played Far Cry 6, and then we played like Immortal Phoenix. Like, I had too much Ubisoft at that point.
Yeah, for everybody, there you go. That's Assassin's Creed. Everybody that is listening or watching this, let us know once you played in the comments what you think about it. Also, if you're here live, please make sure you hit that like button.
Oh, can I say
that
one more
really
thing?
very much helps us. Hit that like button. Yes, Jordan, last thing.
Voice acting
Oh, yeah, you're
is either not noticeable because it's fine or terrible. And there's one scene at the beginning with Nawe. I think her voice actor is fine, but it feels like she was like, the voice actor may have been sick one day and they just had to like piece together words like on the computer, because she was like, "I must go do my chores on top of the hill. I hope the lady is there." Like it was just like, it was like it really. And what's funny is it's not like, it's either okay, so you don't notice it, or it's just rock bottom. Like, there's no.
Blake just called you both weak. I would agree with him because you guys didn't get the stones.
You didn't even make it to the tutorial in Valhalla.
If you would have gone,
Yeah, but I wasn't committed. I was like, yep, I'm out.
if you would have gone to the witch's vision, those
Yeah, no.
stones made that place last like 10 hours.
Because what's funny is you're like, finally, I got all the Asgard stones. And then it's like,
Then
oh,
it
by the
puts
way,
you-
you want to go collect Loki's now? And
Yeah,
you're like,
it puts you into the other. It doesn't even take you back. It moves you right into the
you're
other
like, no,
one.
I don't want to collect
I
the
would
Lokis.
actually like
I
to
really
know.
don't.
I would actually like to know Barbara Blake because he enjoyed Valhalla so much.
I actually.
What are his thoughts here on Assassin's Creed?
You would have to ask him, did he actually enjoy Valhalla, or did he just 100% it?
Blake is
Oh.
the
Yeah,
king at playing games he hates.
Yeah.
Well,
So I actually
He's
need to
got a
know,
constitution.
is it enjoyable?
He like
was
muscles,
it enjoyable?
He muscles through so that he could have a fully informed opinion of it. And
That's
I
actually what-
respect that so hard. But I don't know
got
how he
time
does
for
it.
that.
I don't know how he does it.
I'm not saying.
No, I thought Barbara Blake. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought
Yes,
yeah, he
okay,
did enjoy. it. Yeah, I thought so. I thought he really
Now,
liked Assassin's
if
Creed.
he enjoyed Valhalla, I think he would enjoy this one, because there is some similarities it's still an Assassin's Creed game, but they do pull back on a lot of pointless collectibles. Like, as far as I know, I still think you can get a true ending without 100%ing the game, which is kind of how it should be, and then allow the 100% to be the other stuff. But, and Blake would know what this, like it, and well, you guys know too, like, even in the first area, or like once the open world opens up to you, because then it opens up to you, it is still leveled off, like in previous Assassin's Creed, but it is way less intimidating and overwhelming. There still is question marks and points of interest, but far less intimidating and overwhelming.
All right, there you go, everybody. Thank you very much for hanging out. We went way over time, so unfortunately we won't have a after show this week. We'll have one next week. Apologies, but we had so much to talk about today.
Yeah,
it's been a big week for gaming and games. Thank you guys for listening to us. We hope you enjoyed that. Please share us with your friends. Rate, review, and subscribe to us everywhere you can, and come give us a like on this video. Watch it, subscribe, join. We appreciate you guys. We love hanging out every week and talking games. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great rest of your evening. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Well, I guess we have 12 seconds left.
He got 12 seconds of dead air.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, what do you do?
We'll just sit here and look at the camera. Guys, have a great week. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye, everyone.
I'm walking away. to find